7-4 part 1. Now we are adding and subtracting. So we did multiply, divide. Now it's add, subtract. So when you add or subtract fractions, the denominator has to be the same. So once that's the same, it's just 8 minus 5, or 2 plus 1, or 4x minus 1x. You keep the denominator exactly the same. So 8 minus 5 is 3 over 12x. And then all we have to do is see if it simplifies. 3 over 12 reduces to 1/4. Once we do this, those 3's cancel. This one didn't simplify any further. This one actually did, because we look here and said, oh, look, there's the greatest common factor. I could take out a 2, and all of a sudden they cancel. And down here, you could potentially say x can't equal -1, but it really actually can, because it'll give you a -1 squared. So we don't have to worry about anything there. The only difference is what happens when the denominators are not the same. So this is where I said write this down up here in the corner. Put this kind of big in your notes. But watch right here. 3/4 plus 1/3. Well, we need a common denominator. And we could do least common multiple, but the easiest thing to do is say, look, if I just multiply 3 times 4, I'll get something that matches. Like maybe it's too big. Maybe, you know, a 4 and 6 would give me 24, even though 12 would work. But we're going to just say, look, we're going to just multiply here. So we're going to take this 3 and multiply here, and this 4 and multiply here. And so 3 times 3 is 9, 1 times 4 is 4. Now we have common denominators, because the 12 just stays on bottom. So we're going to use this pattern basically the whole time, where we kind of cross multiply here, cross multiply here, multiply on the bottom. So A times D will be this first part. B times C will get us the second part, and our common denominator will be B over D. If it's subtract, literally that subtract sign is changed. But this one could technically be written 9 plus 4 all over 12, like 9 plus 4 all over 12. So what we'll do is we'll kind of factor everything, and it'll be a lot easier to kind of cross multiply, because we won't have to put everything back together until like the very end. So this one here, 3 times 7 is 21, 4x times -1 is -4x over 28x. Simple enough. On this one, like I said, we're going to factor, so we factor here. 1 times this is just that. 3x squared times x is now 3x to the third. Over, and I just shoved all this together. And I put this 3 in its own parentheses, because it's still kind of multiply. What cancels? Now, here's the deal. It has to cancel, and that's why I have underlined in yellow. It has to cancel in all 3 things. So I can't have, 3x squared minus 4 and 3x squared minus 4. Well, that's like saying the 7 and 7 here cancel, and the 4 and 4 here cancel. Like, it doesn't work that way. So it has to show up in all 3. So 3, 3, 3. I don't really have an x by itself. This one doesn't have an x by itself. So I can't really get rid of anything else. I mean, technically, this should be x to the third plus 3x squared minus 4, but I really just distribute the bottom. We can call it good. So on here, if you can kind of see, ignore this 12 for a second. Let me zoom in just a little bit for you. Factor, and I rewrote it down here. And so I'm going to come back to this 12. I said, okay, cross multiply gets us this, cross multiply gets us this, and then shove everything together on bottom. Well, what cancels? X minus 4. But what about this x minus 4? Well, that's kind of like coming over here saying, look, x squared and x to the third, these have more than this one. We can't just cancel everything out. So it has to show up another time for this x minus 4 to be canceled. But once we cancel, this is 12x plus, 5x plus 15 over, well, we got to put this back together. But x plus 3 and x minus 4 has already been put together for us. That's why this is up here. All we had to do was distribute the 12 in. Once I did that, I got this. And then I just had to combine these like terms on top. Yeah, that went really quick, but it's kind of the same deal as like what we've been doing. Just find out what cancels in blue, red, and green, left, right, and bottom. then you can start piecing things back together. Yeah, it was not crazy hard. They're going to get a little tedious. The next video we have will have more of these, I promise. I'll kind of show you where we're going to have to cross multiply and cancel stuff out. Those aren't going to be too bad. This is where it's going to start getting a little crazy. We're going to get a little crazy. Oh, what happens when we have a third one? Well, we'll talk about that later. So we will be doing more of them.